Hi, folks. Georgie again with another wonderful session for our community members. So here with is Urvish, one of our community members. So about his story, he's uh, a gold medalist from his graduation in information technology from Nirma University, and currently he is doing his master's in information system from Carnegie Mellon University. So he has a lot of experience as well as wonderful story to share with us all. So maybe Urvish, you can start off with a brief introduction, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Georgie. So, yeah, I'm Urvish Thakker. I pursued my Bachelor's in Information Technology from Nirma University, Ahmedabad. Meanwhile, my graduation, I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to do two internships at Indian Navy and Indian Space Research Organization, Ahmedabad. And I was also grateful that I got mentors, and with that mentors, I was able to publish more than 5 research papers in the domain of blockchain, machine learning, and AI. And I also happen to be the gold medalist for my department. I just got fortunate enough to be that. And then I decided to pursue my master's, and I wanted to pursue, I was interested in business and in computer science and things like that. So I decided choosing information systems as my major rather than computer science. And Carnegie Mellon happened to be one of the best colleges in my dream college, and I was lucky enough again to get in. So I got into Carnegie Mellon for my master's. I've completed 2 semesters in my master's, and currently I'm interning at Palo Alto Networks as a software engineer intern, and I'll be probably graduating in December from my master's program.
Super. So yeah, that was a very great introduction. So maybe I have a relevant question for you for exactly for the community. So 2 days back, one of our community member was asking how to prepare a research paper. So since you are an expert in that, you have done around 5 to 6 papers in the more core technology like blockchain, AI, ML. So maybe can you take us through the whole process, whole journey? Why exactly you wanted to do a paper, and then what is the process that you went along to publish that paper?
Yeah, to be very honest, it was just happened because of COVID. I would say because in COVID there was a lot amount of free time because our 6th semester, which was my third year, it got almost cancelled halfway, and they were just going to promote us without taking any sort of study or something like that. So there was like a lot amount of time, and there was nothing to do. Essentially, you are at your home, and at that time, some couple of my friends came up and said, "I think let's just utilize this time and let's invest somewhere." So I think what better was than a research paper, and one of my friends knew a professor in our college itself who was working in this research paper field and very active in that. So we all approached, a couple of friends approached him that would he guide us. So once we approached him, and this is like you can do it from your home, you don't need to be anywhere, you have all the access and things like that. So it's very convenient for everyone staying at their home. And he happened to be agreeing, guiding us. Then how the process of a research paper, how did it went was that he first gave us a problem definitions to choose from. He gave us areas of interest we might be interested in working on, and we said, okay, we are interested in maybe the blockchain area. So then he gave a couple of problem definitions that are relevant to blockchain, and he also was aware of which problem statement is more resonating to us as an interest. So we ended up choosing blockchain applications and opportunities in the diamond industry, because it was very interesting for us to understand how diamond industry works and how we could revolutionize it. So we had this interesting problem statement, and we were very passionate about working on it. So then we started getting on it. So then it's like you have the problem statement, you have to come up with, okay, what are the current flaws in your current industry for us, for example, or current in the problem. What is the problem essentially? So you have to get the problem straight. And once you have the problem, then you can come up with a solution. So if you don't know a problem, it's difficult to come up with the solution itself. So first identify what exactly the problem is. So we identified that for diamond industry, and then figure out how enabling technology you could solve that. and come up with a proof of concept for the same. And once you do this research, figure out what's exactly the problem, how exactly you want to solve it, and then comes developing the proof of concept, and then finally comes the stage where you start writing a research paper. And they're like standard process that which sections are required in the research paper, how to figure out the content. You have to then see on the internet that what are the relevant research papers available you can refer to, have to refer them and start writing, and based on it you start writing them, and then finally it goes into review, and then it comes back in re-review from the authors and things, the editors and everything goes here and there, and then finally once it gets approved, it's published. It's nothing like it has to get approved. It's like based on the editors and based on whoever's the reviewer, they like your paper finally. So ours took like a 6 months or something like that to finally publish. And the paper I was talking about is blockchain in diamond industry. It is published in IEEE IoT journal. So if anyone's interested, definitely do check out.
Sure, wonderful. So I have another interesting question for you. Now, I was watching this series of Vikram Sarabhai and another one yesterday. That is in terms of rocketry. So rocketry talks about a scientist called Nambi Narayanan. Now, the question where I'm coming from is, so I've seen a pattern where in our 80s, 90s, there was a lot of research-oriented works that was happening, specifically in the space sector, multiple other sectors, and students were eager in publishing papers, putting out a lot of research even while having their graduation program. So what exactly is the student thought process as of now, as we are standing at the 2020s? Was it like that? Like, are students really interested in publishing those research works, those research papers? How is the support from the professors as well? I want to put this context into two frameworks: from your Indian education, from your Indian experience, and second, from your US Carnegie Mellon perspective.
To be very honest here, I would say that research is much more valued in the US than in India because there are reasons to it. First and foremost, it is the resources. US has a lot of amount of resources available to invest in research. India is a great students. Everything is great and brilliant people, brilliant everything. But resource is a thing. We need to cater to we can't spend that much over our research and development with having so many other ways we need to develop as well. So I think that's one thing where as a country, we are a little bit, I won't say lacking, because we are much better on other aspects and we're improving a lot as a country day by day. So I am not complaining here as such, but I'm just bringing a fact out here. We have to acknowledge that their currency is more powerful, or they have more amount of physical monetary resources as such. That's one thing, to invest in R&D or research. And that's why their pursuing research in US is lucrative as well and monetary rewarding. I would say in India, it is maybe not so monetary rewarding. If you go at higher level, I think in India also, it is very rewarding. But here in college also, if you see, the research assistants get paid a lot. Like a lot in the sense, not a huge sum, but I would say they at least get paid. Where in India, you would not find college student, if suppose it's professor, he's getting paid or something like that. So that's one, and two things like that comes as a barrier for students and things like that. But apart from it, I think our students are doing an excellent job in terms of their curiosity, their inquisitiveness, and the ideas they come with. It's uncomparable the way the people are working hard today. The students are doing an excellent job there. Of course, with time there will be ideological shift, and people are more attracted towards corporate because the monetary reward is more there. But it makes I would in no way agree that the students' quality or the level of thinking or the innovativeness or the curiosity has decreased over time. It has for sure increased over time, and students are much more, or maybe if not much more, same as hardworking as before. And in this world, everything coexists essentially. So if you look at some part of a country, or some part of, like, not some part of country I would say, but some students, you can't make a decision for all the students. There are very hardworking students, and there might be some outliers or some exceptions as well. So we are doing great there. I have no questions of that.
Got it. So now I think we'll come back to your story. So your second statement was like you did 2 specific internship in 2 good places while doing your bachelor's program. So can you take us through that, and what was your key takeaways and why exactly you applied through? And one of them was actually Indian Navy. So maybe our community members would be really interested in getting to know how exactly you got through that. So yeah, something on that direction.
Yeah, sure. Indian Navy and Indian Space Research Organization were my 2 internships as such in my bachelor's. And to be to directly quote this, I would say both of these internships I got because of my college. To be very straight forward here, because both of these opportunities came from college itself. So for Indian Navy, it was like you have to interview or something. There was some standard process set by the college. So college has an MOU or a tie-up with Indian Navy Service Valsura. So they have this every year set number of 10 students or something like that, always from university, would every year get an internship opportunity at Indian Navy. So they would have to go in person, but mine was at the 2020. It was peak COVID time, so mine was remote. But I got selected in there, and then I was able to do the internship remotely. And for Indian Space Research Organization, again, there is a tie-up. There is an MOU of Nirma University with ISRO Ahmedabad. So what they do is, from each department, they choose one student, and I was fortunate enough to be that one. So both of these opportunities I got like this. And my takeaway from the internship was, my internships were remote, and they were at times when it was peak COVID. So I wouldn't say that they were normal internships or they were as impactful as a normal internship in a normal time would have been, like my current Palo Alto Networks internship is. Or maybe in India also, like in India, if you're doing an internship now, it would be much more impactful, because at that time it was a peak COVID and everyone had their own set of struggles, difficulties, problem. Like my house was COVID for like 3 weeks or something like that. So everyone had these, just not me, it was everyone. So they were not as impactful, I would say, if they would have been without being COVID. But the things I took away were 3 things. One, if you have to be very passionate about your work, and if you're not very passionate about your work, delivering the best, or even delivering the goals would be very difficult, because you would start facing a burnout, you would start facing other problems. So it becomes very difficult to work if you're not passionate about it. The second is, you have to stay motivated on the job you are doing. So if you don't like a job, if you don't like the workplace, if you don't like the people around, it's going to be very problematic. So to get work done or to enjoy your life, you have to be very motivated towards your work, and you need to figure that out, because every day to find that motivation is very difficult, or essentially quite not possible at times. So you have to figure that out, that how could you stay motivated for your work every day? What can you do? And the third thing is curiosity, innovativeness, and unwillingness of, like, not giving up, unwilling to fail. This is, you have to be there. Like, so what I've seen interns doing, or what I have done myself, would be, so if a task is given to you, you don't have to exactly do it. You can go beyond and above it to accomplish it. So there was a document given to one of us, and it said that you have to run these 3 commands on a cluster and do this job every day and check in your changes every day. You have to do this, which would take like 15 to 20 minutes every day, but it was a very repetitive task. So what one of my friends did is, he just wrote the Python code to automate the entire process. So you would have to do like he just clicked it once and it would happen by itself. So you have to be smart, you have to be curious, you have to be innovative. It's not like okay, the document is given to you, just follow it. You don't have to do that. You have to get your curiosity, innovativeness in, and figure out a better solution if you want to, like, so go above, beyond, and don't feel you will fail, or don't be afraid to fail, or don't just make yourself comfortable with failing or not giving up and being resilient. So I think these three things I took away from it.
Sure. So another question would be specifically. So the Indian youth currently are facing a lot of challenge in taking decisions for their future, or they don't exactly know, or they don't exactly have a clarity on what exactly I have to pursue for my future. A bunch of people are going to IT. I am also going to IT. A bunch of people are going to law, so I am also going to law. Or maybe my family says so, I am doing that. But you mentioned that you had an ambition to go to a good university in US, and that's how you got into Carnegie Mellon. And so you had that clarity of vision that some of them lack, I would say. So how was your journey in that decision making process? How did you get that clarity? What made you think in that particular direction? Maybe something on that.
Yeah, I think first and foremost is mentors and finding the right people to take guidance now. So I was very fortunate to find such people around me, and I went to them and discussed with them with an open mind that what do you have exactly in your mind. You need to discuss with someone in order to get a feedback on it, and then what the feedback they give, you think about the feedback, come up with a follow-up, and go to them again and figure out a solution. So it's a discussion, and it's a very trustworthy discussion. So it requires a very genuine people sitting with you and discussing that with you, which is difficult to find, I would say, mentors like that. But I think that is a way you could do that. Finding mentors in a way, for example, I'm not sure how that process can go, but finding the mentors is very essential in a way, because it's very difficult to, as you mentioning, with so much of things going on, people just start following someone. So most of my friends were going for computer science, engineering, and if I wanted to go, I could have went as well. I had nothing as such lacking that I would not be able to make to a good CS college as well. But it's a very conscious decision, or very, very deeply you need to think about making a decision that why I do exactly want to do that. So figure out first of all what's the challenge. Like, first of all, figure out the problem. What's the challenge? What are you trying to address? Because if you don't know what you're addressing, you are not going to end up anywhere. So if, for me, example, if I take my case, that okay, what should I do after I graduate? That was the problem. So then you figure out, okay, what's the possibility? Either you can take up a job, either you can start your own startup or do a business, or you can go for your master's. So now, job, I felt a little too early for it. Business, I felt that it's too risky. I was personally would not be able to afford that risk to start my startup or do an entrepreneurship at this point in my life. That is a personal. All of these decisions are personal. It's not something might be right for me, something else might be right for someone else. So that's always there. It's just that I'm talking about my personal choice. And then I decided, okay, I want to do masters. Now, when you decide to do masters, where do you want to do a masters? India is also a country, US is also a country, UK is also a country, Canada is also a country. Then you figure out, okay, US, then why US? Because it has better opportunities for IT, more number of job openings are there, the better universities are there. The universities you want to go to are there, essentially, or which I wanted to go to were there. So then I chose on US. Then which majors to pursue was like, it's a personal interest that I I didn't see myself doing coding my entire life. I'm currently a software engineer intern too, but I don't see myself doing this. So I wouldn't want a degree in that, because currently early in my career I may do software engineering, but I want to go beyond that. So thinking of that horizon, ended up choosing information systems management because I was interested in managerial strategic roles as well, where you're working as a CISO, you are working as a executive or working as a managerial positions. So I took that decision. However, early in career to get that roles might be difficult. So I'm currently working as a software engineer. That's a different story altogether. So that way I ended up choosing my majors. And now college choosing is like it's pretty much most of the people are confused between two colleges as such. But luckily that didn't happen me the case, because CMU was always my dream school and I got fortunate enough to be there. But that confusion can also be addressed by having a good discussion with people around you, taking help from alumni, getting connected on LinkedIn and stuff. Otherwise, pretty much people know that nowadays the ranking and everything is available on college. So people are essentially confused after they receive the admits. They're essentially confused between two or maybe three colleges, and that is pretty much addressable at that point. Otherwise, it's like you apply to the college system, then you get the admits, and then essentially it comes down to 2 or 3 colleges.
Got it. Couple more questions. So one is you're going to a new country, and your experiences, whatever is coming on your way, is different. The approach of the people are different. We are all together in a new community. So what I have personally learned is networking is a right solution for you to grow up in your ladder. But you being in a new environment, a new place, I think most of our international students are facing this challenge of putting themselves out there, because they are really afraid of what they have to face, all those different challenges. So they sit idle, they complete their program within their space, and then maybe go from there. So according to you, what is your thought process of the importance of networking in a new country like US? What are the opportunities of networking? How will that affect your career, your graduation program, and so on?
Yeah, I think going to a new country and networking itself is very difficult, and going to a new country and doing that is much more difficult because the culture will be different. The way you have to network is different. The way you interact with people, that is different. Essentially, everything is different in that sense. So it's not an easy thing. I also have faced challenges while I came initially here, and faced a lot of challenges, I would say, doing networking. I would say it is important because of a couple of reasons. Because I think it's always good to know people. Why would you not know someone? You might find your next friend in there, you might find your next job in there, you might find a person who might be a mentor for you in there, a person who might help you in some way there. So there's a lot of possibilities that a person might be but helpful. But I think that's not the only reason you should network. Beyond just that human connection, I personally value human connection a lot. So while talking to you today, I don't think I want some benefit from you, but I would like to interact with you, be nice with you, and be as such make a connection with you, because I value human connections in general. And that, for me personally, that is much more valuable than anything else. And it has turned very helpful for me in a lot of ways. So as I said, I was lucky to get mentors, lucky to get very good advice directly from the people who might have studied here, who might have worked here, and things like that. So I think these all got possible because I valued that human connections. I didn't knew while making that connection that this connection would be helpful in such a way to me one day, but it ended up happening so in multiple folds. And so I personally just connect without having any thing in it, just purely out of a human connect. But it ended up being so resourceful in the long term. So that's why I would say networking is important. And how to network in a different country. I think the culture is very different here in US compared to in India. That's what I've observed personally. But I think you have to be very adaptive to things. You have to be very open to things. And you have to also not lose yourself in being that. While trying to be adaptive, while trying to being very open, you have to be also you. You don't have to lose yourself essentially in this process. That's very important, I have felt. So if you go to a couple of places, you figure it out. You initially face a lot of challenges and a lot of hindrance in doing so, because you feel, why to do this? What is the need for doing this? I think I'll be judged. I think I'll be done this. But afraid of failure, you need to remove in order to get succeed. So there's one phrase I live by: those who dare to fail miserably can achieve greatly. So you have to dare to fail. You have to dare to fail miserably, and you don't need to be afraid of anything, and then only that helps. So that's how you learn, because if you initially network, some might be offended by our act, or some might not like you, or you might be judged, but that shouldn't hold you back from not networking with more people or not going into more events. Because eventually, after you might have done something, you learn from it, you learn again, eventually you will get there. Not today, not tomorrow, eventually. It's similar to like we do a machine learning, we train a model, it fails, and eventually it gives the correct output or a good accuracy. Similarly, we are humans. That ideas came essentially from humans, that you train yourself. So we are too much into training models today, but we should train ourselves as well, and we would get there.
Great. So that was a wonderful piece of advice. I think due to the lack of time, I think we'll end the session right now. Thank you very much, Urvish, for giving us the time to share your thoughts, your wisdom for the community. Looking forward for maybe more such sessions in the near future from you. Any last piece of maybe one single advice maybe you can give to the community just as a ending for the session?
I would say two things: strive for excellence, put your heart in your work.
Okay, great. So thank you, Urvish. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful life ahead.
Thank you.